Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another T&C Sports Podcast. Today we got a good one, man. As always, I'm your host, Logan Cross, here with.
I'm Fire Troy.
Yes, sir. We got a good one. Playoffs took place. It's the second round. The divisional round took place this last weekend. And, man, we had a good slate of games. First one, Green Bay Packers taking on the Los Angeles Rams. And they took care of business, man. 32-18. Great win. It wasn't super close the whole game. It kind of seemed like they had it under their belt the whole game. And I know you're happy as a Seattle fan seeing the Rams go down after talking all that mess. But what do you see going on in that game?
I didn't really see with the star cornerback Jalen Ramsey. I didn't really see him. I mean, Devontae Adams took care of business. I mean, that whole team. I mean, and then with the Rams defensive standpoint, they only had 1 second against Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was in the end zone, standing there for like 15 seconds. Nobody touched him. I just believe the Packers offense is too good. They got A.J. Dillon, Jamal Williams, and Aaron Jones as a great running back core. And they got Al Lazard, St. Brown, and Valdez-Scantling. I think they're going to be a great offense and defensive team going into the NFC Championship game versus the Buccaneers.
Yeah, man, you said it perfectly, man. Their offense hits on all cylinders. They can run the ball whenever they want because the great core they have. And A.J. Dillon's going to be the guy next year because, who knows if they're going to re-sign Jones. And then they can obviously throw the ball with Aaron Rodgers, one of the best quarterbacks, in the NFL. And then their defense also played well too. I mean, the Rams didn't have too many turnovers, but Green Bay was stopping them. I mean, especially with Sean McVay calling plays, it's kind of hard to hold him to 18 points. He's a good offensive-minded coach. Him and LaFleur were both from the Shanahan system, so that was kind of interesting to see that little back and forth. Obviously, the Packers ended up, sealing the game. There was one play I saw, the Aaron Rodgers. It was a long touchdown to Alan Lazard. He was going under center, and he started to smile before the snap because he knew, this is a touchdown. And then he snapped it, long ball to Lazard, easy touchdown. And that just shows you the confidence that, they're feeling right now on offense. They really are trusting each other. Their offense is rolling. And hopefully they could keep that up next week. I'm rooting for them, obviously. I've said that multiple times. But it should be fun to see, man. What do you think? Do you see Jamal Adams' tweet? And I think
I did,
Diggs.
man. I did, man. It was him. Quandre Diggs said something too. They were all like, "Hey, we'll be in Cabo if you need us." And then he was like, "Bring some cigars too." And then I remember there's a lot of memes about Jalen Ramsey because it's with his play style. When he gets upset, that dude will start jumping like a bench. You saw him after Devontae Adams scored, it was like this, like a little kid. Bro, what you doing? Bro? The whole world can see you. Dummy.
Yeah, I did. I noticed that. I did see some funny stuff on that. That was funny. But hey, Devontae Adams, there were some plays that he really shook. He shook Ramsey a couple times, especially on the slant route.
Facts. That was
now.
crazy.
I'm sure they were doubling, maybe not when Ramsey was on him, but they were having some, shadow over top on Adams. But Adams still had a solid game. Obviously, he had that touchdown. I think he had 60 yards, and he had a couple good catches. So he didn't get shut down by any means, but, he didn't have a crazy game. But I expect him to do better next week, especially, the Bucs defense is a little bit, it's a little worse. But they don't have a star corner such as, Jalen Ramsey. And then on the other side of the ball, they have Williams, who's another solid corner. So that'll be an interesting matchup next week, which we'll talk about in a little bit. The next game, which I want to say you predicted this game pretty well. 17-3, Bills beat the Ravens. I remember last week you mentioned that the Bills have one of the fastest defenses in the league. And watching a game that really made a difference. Lamar couldn't, get out of anything really. And then the wind was such a factor that nobody could really throw the ball. Even Josh Allen was having a hard time sometimes throwing the ball, but it was a fun game to watch, man. What'd you get out that game?
I got that. Lamar is not really a dude that can really get out of situations. I mean, I get versus the Titans. The Titans only have a fast defense, but if you put Lamar versus a Bills defense, a Packers defense, or a Buccaneers defense with Jamel Dean and Devin White, you can't really see him do anything. He really just stays in the pocket. He can't really throw that well either. And I just think on the Ravens side of the ball, that was probably one of the worst defensive games I've ever seen, by Marcus Peters, because Stephon Diggs had like 100 and some yards. It's like, dude, you cannot be in a playoff game and have a dude score I think it was 120 on you. But on the Bills standpoint, I mean, what's the running back? Devin
Devin
Singletary.
Singletary.
Yeah, he, he did a pretty good job. And I just believe that him as a running back, I think he needs to improve a lot for like this next game versus the Chiefs. But the Chiefs have a really good run defense. But Stephon Diggs, I mean, the Chiefs, like in the Ravens, do not really have good corners. So I believe he can make a great impact, like he did this week in the upcoming week.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree, especially with the Devin Singletary. I think through the first half, the Devin Singletary didn't have like any carries. I think they ran the ball one time, which was Josh Allen like scrambling. I think they threw the ball like every play basically in the first half. And I think start of the second half they ran the ball a little bit. The Bills did, but I mean it was kind of crazy to see the opposite play styles of the Ravens versus the Bills. The Bills were throwing the ball every play basically, and the Ravens were basically running the ball every play, which was crazy to see, especially in the win. The Bills are still sticking and trusting Josh Allen. And he made good decisions. I don't think he had a turnover, and obviously won them the game. It was 3-3 at half. You know, a lot of the factors to the win. And the Bills made adjustments. Ravens didn't make as many adjustments. Bills came out on top. I think Diggs did have a touchdown. I'm not sure who had the other one. Josh Allen might have a rushing touchdown. They took care of business, and they're moving on next week to play the Chiefs. Speaking of the Chiefs found themselves in a little good game versus the Browns there. 22-17. Chiefs did handle business. First and foremost, let's talk about there's two to three big things that happen in this game. First thing I want to talk about is Patrick Mahomes' injury. It is unforeseen if he'll play next weekend. It was ruled a concussion, I think, but a lot of people think it's a neck injury, neck nerve problem, due to the fact that it didn't even look like he hit his head really when he got tackled. Now, Chad Henne would go in the game, and he threw a terrible interception, but he did end up throwing for the first down on 4th and inches, which surprising play call, caught the defense off guard, caught even the commentators off guard. So that was crazy to see. I don't want to talk about how that Mahomes thing is going to affect them yet. Let's talk about when we talk about the Bills versus the Chiefs. Let's talk about how Mahomes will affect them then. All right.
Okay.
So there was the other biggest play of the game. I believe late in the first half, Baker Mayfield throws the ball to Higgins down the sideline. Higgins dives for the touchdown, fumbles it out of the back of the end zone. Now, there was two things with that play. One, the rule in general, if they fumble and it goes out the end zone, should the defense get the ball at the 20-yard line, or should the offense regain possession or something? I want to hear your thoughts on that, because this has been a big debate for the past week since the game's been over. What do you think about that rule in general?
I think the rule should be 20. I think it should stay at 25 because of the defense, because you don't really see that happen. You don't really see like a fumble in the end zone. So, I mean, you shouldn't give the ball back at the 25, like give offense like new possession, because that's kind of unfair, because you don't barely see people fumble in the end zone. If you get that, that should be a reward to get the ball at the 25. That should be it shouldn't be taken away.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I honestly like the rule.
Yeah.
As you said, it does not happen much at all. And like, why would the offense get rewarded for fumbling the ball out the end zone and losing it?
Facts.
I think there's a lot of rules that favor offensive players. And I like that this one really benefits the defense, and it gives their team the ball. It is a turnover. And it just rewards good play. Obviously that play from Sorensen was amazing. But there's a lot of question about it as well. This is the second thing I wanted to talk about. A lot of people were saying that Sorensen's hit was illegal. It was helmet-to-helmet contact. He led with his crown, put his head down, and hit him in the head. Do you think that should have been called? Do you think that play should be reviewable for that hit? Like in college, if you get a targeting call, they can review it. Do you think that the NFL should consider that, and do you think it was the right call?
I think they should, because for offensive and defensive players' standpoints, for safety wise, because like I think if Sorensen wouldn't have hit him with the helmet, I don't think he would have fumbled it. But if the referee is right there and you don't see it, you're kind of favoring the defense than the offense in that standpoint. So yes, to answer your question, I believe the NFL should review that play about, if they think it's a helmet to helmet or think it's some kind of illegal hit, they should review it and see if it's really right or if it's wrong.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you again. I think they should go to college route. Have a review for it. Obviously, they shouldn't throw them out if they get come upon the terms that it was an illegal hit, like they do in college. But maybe give them a warning. Like NFL, you could get 2 personal fouls and then you're kicked out. I think maybe give them 1.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of people don't like that they should review penalties. Like, if the ref misses it, they miss it. But this one's kind of different. It's more about safety than the rule. I mean, obviously, ended out good for the Chiefs, and they won. That play was probably the biggest play of the game that, happened early on. But I don't know. I agree. I do think they should be able to review it. And obviously, the refs missed the call there that ultimately costed the Browns 7 points. So just got to move on. Can't really do anything about it now. And then the last game, Tampa Bay Bucks defeated the New Orleans Saints 30-20 in what seems to be Drew Brees' last game. As you know, Nick was on here last week. Obviously, y'all both picked the Saints. I really just feel bad for how Drew Brees went out. He's a great quarterback, obviously one of the best all time, probably top 10 all time, especially stats-wise. He's put up great stats. But just seeing him, he had 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. It was just kind of rough to see. I wish he went out better. Bucks defense obviously stepped up. Honestly, the Bucks offense wasn't even playing that well. I believe they had maybe 20 points off the 4 Saints turnovers, maybe 24 or something. I'm not exactly sure. And Bucks, if they had to get the ball, if it wasn't for those turnovers, their offense was not really moving the ball, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if 27 out of their 30 points came from the turnovers.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So those key turnovers really just cost the Saints a game. I don't think the Bucks turned the ball over one time, which is what you got to do in the postseason. You can't turn the ball over. But I do think if the Bucks play like that next week, they're not going to be the Packers. Packers, rarely turn the ball over. So I'm sure they'll adjust, make better game plans and fix that up. But we'll see. What was your thoughts on that game, man?
I think that game was amazing to watch. I'm gonna give which one this was kind of a bad way for Drew Brees to end it. I mean, you kind of already thought he was gonna lose anyway because his streak with divisional and wild card games is not so good. And I just believe they needed more help because Alvin Kamara was not really a factor in this game. He was not. They did not throw him no screen passes, no short outs or no slants. They didn't really do anything. And I just believe if they would have incorporated Alvin Kamara better, I think they could have at least won by a little margin. But Sean Payton didn't really have an answer for Devin White at all. He was everywhere. Pick, sack, lost yards for tackle. I mean, he just didn't have enough for it. So I just think if he retires, the Saints just needs to rebuild the whole team. They need to start from scratch.
Yeah, a joke I made in Hostile, the group chat we have with some of our friends, I said Jameis Winston's the best quarterback out there right now because Drew Brees was playing bad and Tom Brady wasn't even playing that well. His numbers were good, but if you watch the game, Tom Brady didn't, play his best football, obviously. Do you think the Saints should have considered to put Jameis Winston in?
I think they should have because after that touchdown play he had, I get that wasn't really, it was wide open. But honestly, I think since he's bigger and he's faster with he's a mobile quarterback, I believe he could have done better in that game than Drew Brees did because Drew Brees is not really a mobile quarterback. He kind of stands in the pocket, throws some slants and them outs. And with Michael Thomas not being a factor, who else are you going to throw to? But Jameis Winston, I believe he could have thrown Michael Thomas at in them in them little creases, them little holes, and he could have thrown some deep routes to Traquan Smith, or he could have thrown it to somebody else.
Yeah, as you said, in the Bucks defense, I said this before, they clamped down Michael Thomas. They clamped down Kamara, Michael Thomas had 0 catches,
Yeah.
0 yards. He did drop a touchdown. But hey, you got to give credit where credit's due. Obviously, I think Devin White was the big difference, like you said, coming back. He didn't play last week due to COVID, and during the season, he did not miss a snap at all. So that's just awesome. He's a great player, and definitely gonna change how I look at things going into next week because man, he's such a good player. Just seeing him run around all in the field. That interception was beautiful he had on Breeze. So I'm excited to see that. But I'm gonna get back to the question I asked you, and I'm gonna answer it. I think that I don't know, like taking Drew Brees out in his last game, possible last game as a Saint. I don't know if you could do that. Honestly, I don't. Even though it may
Yeah,
have
exactly.
benefited the team, if I was a coach, I probably would have. I don't know. It's tough. Like you don't want to take him out, but it may have bettered the team to put Winston in. Just ah, I I think they made the right choice keeping him in. But if this was at any other point in Drew Brees' career and he was playing like that, I probably would have maybe put Winston in. But I don't think you could do that to him in his last game.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for the games, the playoff games for the week. So now let's talk about the ones next week. There's 2 games and then the Super Bowl. So there's 3 games left. This is crazy. The season went by like that. It's almost over
Yeah.
already, sadly. The first game is going to be, I think it's either at 3 or 4. I'm not 100% sure.
3.
Green Bay versus Tampa Bay. Wow, Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady. Who could have asked for a better NFC championship? This is the GOAT versus the BOAT. The greatest player of all time versus the best player of all time, aka Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers. So this is going to be an exciting matchup. Obviously, they're not like one-on-one-ing or anything. These are team games, but this is just going to be an awesome game to watch, man. What are you looking forward to in this one?
I'm seeing the Packers throwing the ball a lot because I don't think their running game's going to work because they have Ngana and Sue, they have Jason Pierre-Paul, Devin White's going to be all over that line. They will not be able to run. I think most of the game is probably going to go to Valdez Scantling or Alan Lazard. I don't think Devontae Adams is going to be like a real big factor in this game because I believe like Tampa Bay's not that dumb. I think they're going to double them all the time. I think they might leave somebody for like a linebacker or something, but I just believe this game is going to be kind of a low scoring game. I don't really see it going past like 30. I don't see like one team going past 30. I think it's going to be like 27, 24, but I just don't think the running game is going to be a factor for the Packers on Sunday.
Yeah, that's a good take. The Bucks obviously have a good line, and the Packers were able to run the ball last week against the Rams, but Aaron Donald was, in and out of the game. He wasn't playing the whole game due to his ribs. So it'll be interesting to see. The Rams did have the best defense, and the Packers put up 30 on them. So it'll be interesting to see that. I could see the Packers putting up 30, but it'll be hard. The Bucks, their linebacking core is fast, and Aaron Rodgers got to be wary of that. They might have to, I think the only way they could get Aaron Jones involved, they might have to throw some dump offs to him. I think Dylan could have some success, power running. But we'll see. Hopefully they can run the ball. I know Aaron Rodgers said this on a podcast I watched, the Pat McAfee podcast or show. He said that they made it an emphasis to kind of get the run going because the Rams were kind of playing the pass. So they made it emphasis to run the ball well. So they might come out and do that again this week. Who knows if it'll work? We'll see that. We'll see if it works on Sunday afternoon. And as far as the Bucks, their offense, obviously they got all these weapons, and they got good running backs as well. But as I said earlier, if their offense plays how they played last week, they're not going to win. Their defense really kind of propelled them to that win, putting them in spots to score off turnovers. But I just can't see if Bucks play like how they played last week. I can't see them putting up 20 points. So that's just my opinion. What do you think the Bucks offense is going to do next week?
I think the Bucks offense is going to. I think they're going to have a tough time because what people don't understand, the Packers have a lot of safeties and corners that could play different positions. So you're going to see a lot of man-to-man. You're not going to see a lot of zone because zone is just not what the Packers play. Packers most play man, and then they're gonna have like what they're gonna have like Preston Smith on one side, who the other guy, Zadarius Smith on the other side,
Yeah, the Smith guy.
and I just think the Bucks gonna have to throw. I think like the Bucks will have to throw like some deep post or some go routes because I don't think they're gonna have the middle open anytime soon, or even ever like on Sunday.
Yeah, so let's get into who we think's gonna win. For me, I'm gonna rock with the Packers. That's just, I'm rooting for Aaron this postseason and the Green Bay Packers. I'm gonna say the score is gonna be 31-24. What do you think?
I'm gonna go with the Packers as well. I think it's gonna be a close game though. I don't think it's gonna be like a blowout. But I'm gonna say I'm gonna go 27-21.
Okay. All right, then we got one more game to decide who's gonna go to the Super Bowl. Kansas City versus Buffalo. Now, as I said earlier, I wanted to talk about Mahomes here. This is obviously the biggest point of question going into this game. Now, for me, I would say if Kansas City has Mahomes, I think they're going to win. I don't want them to win. I just think, Mahomes is super talented. He's one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the NFL right now. Man, I just losing Mahomes and having to start Chad Henne over him, I'm going to bank on the fact that Mahomes is not going to play. So, I mean, obviously with all those weapons, I still think they're going to put up some points. But without Mahomes, I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with Buffalo. And Buffalo has a solid defense. So that's just my opinion. How do you think the Chiefs offense is going to look with or without Mahomes?
I think with Mahomes, it's gonna be a little tough because I know he's not gonna be 100%. He's gonna have a problem because if the defense is aiming for getting him down on the ground, that's something he doesn't want to look forward to. I think he needs to throw the ball quick, some slants, some very like a fly. He can't be in the pocket too long because one moment he could be standing up, one moment he could hit his head on the ground, he done. He has like some kind of like problem or something. And then without Mahomes, like I think like you said, I think they're still going to put up some points. There's a chance they could win if their defense can really stop Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. But I think there's a chance they can win because if they lock up Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley, the running game is nothing. They don't have a running game. So that's all they have. And I believe they could win even without Patrick Mahomes playing.
Yeah, the thing about the Chiefs defense is, they did the same thing last year where they're mediocre during the regular season. But once the playoffs hit, their defense locks in gears and they start clamping. As you saw last week versus the Browns, they created a couple turnovers. Baker had an interception, and then that fumble that really saved them most likely the game, but saved them a touchdown at the time. So I do think the Chiefs defense is going to keep them in the game. But let's get to predictions. I do think the Bills are going to win. I'm going to bank on the fact, as I said this earlier, I'm going to bank on the fact Mahomes isn't playing. I'm going to take the Bills, and I'm going to say the Bills they're not going to win by much because usually these games are somewhat close. And I think Henne could kind of keep them in the game, and their defense is going to keep them in the game. So I'm going to say 24-20. I'm going to say 24-20 Bills. What do you think?
Ooh. I'm gonna go. Hold on. I'm gonna go 31-24.
Okay. Who you taking, Bills?
Bills.
Bills. All right. Both of our
Bills.
picks are kind of,
Buffalo.
Aiming that Mahomes is not going to play. But we may change it. We're not going to lock in our picks until Saturday night, so that could change if Mahomes' status changes. So just keep that in mind. Hey, that's it for the playoffs. Next week, we'll talk about the 2 games, and then the Super Bowl predictions. Then there's going to be a week off, I think, for the Pro Bowl. So we'll see how that all works out. I don't know how the Pro Bowl is going to work this year. Do you know how the Pro Bowl is going to work?
Yeah, so the players that got named to the Pro Bowl, they're gonna be playing Madden on the NFL network. They're gonna play Madden, and they're like, it's gonna be like a players like championship thing where like
Tournament.
each player plays against another player, like a little tournament thing. Yeah, and then they're gonna be like on TV and stuff.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Let's see. Now, we got a little bit of other news from the NFL besides, the playoffs. First things first, excuse me. Phillip Rivers has announced his retirement after 17 seasons. Just congrats on a great, career to him. He really, proved he led the Colts to a good playoff spot, and they were competing in that playoff game a couple weeks ago, and they easily could have won that game. Phillip Rivers, I'm not sure. I think he's on the edge of the Hall of Fame. Not too sure. But doesn't he have like a lot of kids?
Yeah, something. Hold on.
I was just thinking, I saw the number 17. I feel like he has 17 kids. That's kind of crazy, but okay. I want to look this up.
Phillip Rivers, he has 9 kids.
Sheesh. Hey, man. Spreading the seed, man. I guess. Keep on spreading. Hey, maybe one of them.
But I'm gonna give you a question. So then, with this whole kid situation, he's like the second player with the most kids. Can you guess number 1?
I think I know number 1.
Yeah, he played for the Cromartie. Cardinals, the Chargers. Yeah, guess how many kids he has?
Cromartie. It's Cromartie, right?
Yes. Yeah, but how many kids he got?
ERC. Shoot, man. I think it's something crazy. I think it's something crazy, bro. I'm gonna say
it's not that crazy. What you think? It's not that far from Phillip Rivers.
Okay, I'm gonna say like 14 then.
Yeah, he has 14 kids. Yeah, he's the number 1 player with as many kids. Yeah.
That's crazy, bro. If none of them go to the league, that's a shame. That's a shame. That's 14 chances, bro. Come on. All right, but yeah, congrats to Phillip Rivers. Fi, do you think he'll make it to the Hall of Fame?
I think without a Super Bowl, I don't think that's going to be not a great chance, because if you see, like, if you don't have like an MVP or an All-Pro year, has he ever been All-Pro before?
Let me look, but keep on going.
Because like, if he has not been All-Pro, I don't see it happening. But since Phillip Rivers is an NFL favorite and a fan favorite, I think he'll make it regardless.
Yeah, a lot of people do like him. I love the videos. All-Pro. I love the videos seeing of him talking trash to the other dudes. Let me see. Where does it say?
On Wikipedia, like, go to the bottom and it should say like his accomplishments, and it should say All-Pro or not.
I can't find it right now. I don't think he was, though, because considering he's been in the league with like Tom Brady a lot of times, I don't think he's been. But I do think he's like right on the edge. I don't know if he'll get the nod or not, kind of what you said with the Super Bowl, but he is a fan favorite, so I can see him getting in. You still looking, or you want me to move it? All right, I'm going to go to the next topic, but if you find it, just feel free to say. 2 more things for the NFL. I don't know if you saw this, but Michael Thomas and A.J. Brown were fighting some tough injuries throughout the year. A.J. Brown had knee problems, 2 of his knees, that his coach said in week 2 that he was done for the year. But he kept playing on, and guess what? He made the Pro Bowl. And, man, that's crazy to see. He was hurt and still putting up crazy numbers. So shout out to him. And then another cool thing that, I've never really liked Michael Thomas. He was on my fantasy team this year and he really let me down. But he played through a serious ankle injury, to play with Drew Brees in his last year. And I thought that was just super cool to see. Even though he wasn't able to put up the numbers he usually does. It was still just awesome to see him out there. I've gone through a lot of ankle stuff, maybe not as bad as that, but it was just awesome to see that. And it was cool to see, man. You want to say anything on that? All right.
With Michael Thomas, I believe he's a great player. I just think he needed to stay out this year. I mean, him playing didn't really make a difference for them. He didn't really do anything, and I believe he should have had surgery a long time ago, just to get prepared for like next season or this game that was played last week.
Yeah, because he did miss a good amount of time, so I was surprised he didn't get it back then. And the last thing, I know you're gonna like hearing this. Russell Wilson is going to have some input on the Seahawks' next offensive coordinator. So he's going to be able to pick and choose who he wants. Who do you think are some of the top candidates, and who do you think is a no-go for the offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks?
Adam Gase is a no-go. I don't know why he's even in the mix for for offensive coordinator. I want Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator. That's who I want.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because he got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Damian Williams. He got like the whole wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and I would love him in Seattle. I mean, this dude is a great offensive coordinator. He got Mahomes with MVP. He got Travis Kelce to Offensive Player of the Year. Amazing team. I think he could like bring Seattle to a whole nother level. He's probably gonna have another running back, like a different running back next year. But I mean, he's gonna improve them to the what is it? The next level.
Yeah, man. If you get a guy like that, you take him from one system with an MVP and a bunch of good wide receivers, and you move him to another system with the MVP caliber player and a bunch of good wide receivers as well. I mean, you're gonna see similar results. So if they get him, their offense is definitely gonna be top 5 in the NFL for sure next year. I think y'all fired a defensive coordinator, right?
We fired our offensive coordinator, but we kept our defensive coordinator, man. We fired the wrong one.
Yeah, y'all need to do something in the defense. I don't know what was going on. So maybe you should give
But we needed
Jamal Adams some say in your defensive coordinator. I don't know. But y'all got some good pieces on defense. You could just go into the draft, maybe pick up some I don't know, y'all linebackers aren't terrible, huh?
No, because we got Bobby Wagner. We have Jordan Brooks is improving from Texas Tech. Shout out Devin. And we have KJ Wright as well.
Yeah, so maybe just draft a corner, maybe some down defensive linemen. Just try and improve your defense, honestly, in this draft. All right, that's all I got for the NFL. You got anything else for the NFL, man?
I might have one more thing. So, like, with, like, the whole drafting thing, honestly, like, with, like, the whole, like, first round not being an issue because, like, we traded them picks to the Jets for Jamal Adams. But in the second round, I would like to see us draft Trey Sermon from Ohio State. That would be kind of a good fit for us, too. That's what I'm thinking as well, too.
Okay, a little running back.
Offensive coordinator.
When does free agency in the NFL open?
Yes, sir.
Do you know when free agency starts? March? Okay.
What is it? The first week of March.
Okay, but
yeah.
I know Washington's got a lot of cap space, so we could come out firing. So we'll see how that turns out. All right, that's it for the NFL, man. We got a little bit of NBA, and then we're done. This one, we've had some long episodes recently, but this one might not be as long as the others. All right, first thing in the NBA, just start off with some injuries. I want to recap. Miles Turner, he's a slight fracture in his right hand. So he's only going to be out a couple of days. Not too bad, not too serious. And then a big one, C.J. McCollum fractured his foot, and he's out at least 4 weeks. Portland is 8-6, and they are the 6th seed right now. Obviously this is a big blow. How far do you think they're going to drop in the Western Conference? They're 8-6 at the 6th seed.
they're gonna drop because like also their center Yusuf Nurkic, he broke his wrist. He's out I think 6 weeks as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with just Damian Lillard, I think they're gonna drop a lot. I think they're gonna drop to like 13 or 14 seed. I don't think they're gonna stay up there because Lillard can't carry the whole team by himself. But yeah, I think that to answer your question, I think they're gonna drop like 13 or 14 seed.
Yeah, I definitely think they're going to drop as well. I mean, this just will give defenses more reason to just double Damian wherever he goes on the floor. So he'll have to rely on his teammates, and that's what they want. That's what the other teams want. They want the ball out of Lillard's hands and into his teammates, who are going to have to prove themselves a little bit here. Obviously, we know Melo can score. He's going to have to pick it up a little bit in this run, but I do think they're going to drop maybe to like 10 to 12 because they already have 8 wins, and a lot of teams don't have 8 wins. So I'm not sure how far they're going to drop. I mean, obviously, 4 weeks is probably – they play 5 games. That's probably 20 games. So that's big. That's big. That's about 16 to 20 games, I'd say. That's big. And then Nurkic missing 25 to 30 games. So those are going to be big for sure, no doubt. The next thing is Kyrie Irving is finally back. He's set to play. I believe he's going to play the Cavs. I think they play. I believe that game might be Sunday. I'm not sure. Maybe a couple days from now. But man, the Nets have been scary with KD and James Harden already. How scary do you think they're going to be with Kyrie back now?
Now, with Kyrie's situation, like with Harden and KD, they knew who to give the ball to. Like Joe Harris is still getting points. He got 18 versus the Bucks. Bruce Brown had 9. I think this is where it's gonna like be bad. I think this is when it's gonna be terrible because with all 3 of them on the floor, I honestly think you don't need Kyrie. Honestly, in my opinion, because you're gonna take the ball away from Joe Harris, DeAndre Jordan, what's that dude's name? Bruce Brown, and all those bench players because with Kyrie, Harden, and KD, that's a whole like team you're not going to give the bench time for. And Joe Harris's numbers are going to go down. He's going to want to leave if you don't give him the ball. He's going to be very upset. And I think you should trade Kyrie for someone like a shooting guard or a point guard. Like I was going to say a name, but I know you're going to like this for Beal, maybe for Beal, maybe. Like I know you're not going to like this, but like they need to trade for like Beal or like a Hero or Duncan Robinson kind of guy, like as like a shooter, but I don't think that's gonna work.
That Beal thing you bring up is actually interesting. I do think Bradley Beal would fit very well with the Nets, but obviously I don't want to see him gone, so I would cry if he left. I was also thinking maybe we should trade Russell Westbrook for Kyrie Irving. Bring back the old OG Oklahoma Thunder on the Brooklyn Nets. That trio be back.
Oh, no.
Who knows how that will go?
No.
But no. I think Kyrie, as long as he buys into the system, I think it's gonna be perfect. I think James Harden has already proven that he can be unselfish. And I think if Kyrie has been noticing that, Kyrie's also gonna buy into it. So I think it's gonna go well. I think it'll be kind of iffy at first. They might lose a game or two, right off the bat, trying to figure each other out. But I think it'll be fun to watch, and I think they're gonna come out as number 1 or number 2 in the East. So that'll be interesting. I think in my video, I think in the podcast last week, I think I said the Nets were gonna be like 3rd or 4th. But seeing how they're playing now, I could easily see them going number 1 or number 2. All right, and this came out that the Rockets, before trading Harden, asked the 76ers for Ben Simmons, Tyrese Maxey, and 3 first-round picks. Now, I think what the Sixers actually offered was Simmons, Matisse Thybulle, who's also a good rookie, or a second-year player, and a couple first-round picks. I'm not sure how many exactly, but that was just interesting to hear what what they were offering and what they were asking for. It wasn't too much different. So we could have easily seen Harden on the Sixers. I just want to mention that. And speaking of the trade, which is this is absolutely crazy. The trade could have saved Karis LeVert's life. I don't know if you saw this. I was kind of big. I'm sure you did. So an MRI that the players have to get, physical that they have to get before they're traded, make sure everything's okay. It came back that Karis LeVert had a small mass in his kidney, which, who knows what could have happened if he kept playing with that. He could have easily, died. Just crazy news. Obviously, prayers up for Karis LeVert. Just crazy how this all just, everything happens for a reason. And you just saw, that trade very well could have just saved his life. So hopefully he comes back all good. It's kind of indefinite for how long he'll be out, but, prayers up to him, of course. And then the last thing I have written down is that the Washington Wizards, we haven't played in like 10 days, bro. We have 7 players that have tested positive for COVID, and as well as staff members. And I'm just like, we haven't played in 10 days. I don't think we played in, I forget our last game. Like, I don't know. How do you think this is going to affect us whenever we come back to play?
I think it's going to affect you a lot because you guys haven't practiced, haven't played. You guys haven't really done anything to prepare. I just believe, like, on top of what you're saying about that, I think NBA needs to go back to a bubble. Honestly, that's what I'm thinking. I think NBA needs to go back to a bubble. But like with Toronto, you saw how like Toronto's in Tampa. They should do that with all the teams. They should, get a little money and put people in the bubble. You could use Tampa as a stadium. You could use Orlando as a stadium, and the 2 in Disney World. You should have all the players have their own housing outside of Disney World, and you could easily have the bubble there and have everybody be safe with their families as well.
Yeah, man. I don't know if I could see them moving all the teams to the bubble, but definitely come playoff time, I think they will maybe go back to the bubble or maybe make it more strict, so an outbreak doesn't happen. Excuse me. An outbreak doesn't happen, and so they have to stop the playoffs, mid-playoffs. But for now, I don't even know what they should do because some teams are so far behind. I think we're 3-8, and most teams have played 15 games right now, where we're at like 10 or 11. So, man, I don't know what they're going to do with some of the games that have been postponed. Maybe move them to the end of the year, all-star break maybe. I don't know. So, honestly, if we don't come back out of this break, energized, we should have a lot more energy than some of the teams. But then again, we haven't practiced or done anything. So, I don't know. I'm just hoping we can get back to playing soon. Who knows what's going to happen? This COVID thing's crazy. Anything else for the NBA you want to say, man?
Nah, man. I think you covered everything about it.
Yeah, man. That's all I really got to say today. I don't really got too much. Just a little quick episode. You know what I'm saying, man?
Yes, sir.
But let me give you an updated standings. I meant to say this when we were making picks. I'm 147, 72 and 1. I'm in first place. Fayed, there's a 3-way tie for second. So it's basically over, but it'll be interesting to see where everybody finishes. There's a 3-way tie for second. Fayed, Davin, and Bap are all 133 and 86 and 1. So that's this far into the season, y'all are all tied. It's gonna come down to these last 3 games. So hey, man, maybe we should throw some incentives for whoever gets second. So I was thinking about that. So there's a little
It's a
reason to try and win.
yes.
But yeah, man, that's basically all for today. If y'all wanna see us talk about anything else, ask us any questions, we'll answer them. So feel free to drop them down below. Fayed, shout out your Instagram, man.
Oh yeah, holla at me. Fayed the King, Fayed_the_king.
Yes, sir. And mine's Logan.cross24. Go follow us on our socials. I'll try and put the links in the bio. And this is gonna be the last week, most likely, that I split up the videos, because I'm gonna do that tonight. And I go back to college tomorrow, so I don't know if I have time. If my classes, kind of aren't too hard, I'm gonna get back to doing it. But just from now on, don't expect too much. And the episodes may start to hover around 40 to 50 minutes because, we're going to be at school. We're doing schoolwork, so we might not try and make them as long. So bear with us here. And as the NFL season's coming to an end, we might take a break for a little bit. I'm not sure. I gotta think about what we're gonna do, or maybe we'll shift and start talking about like different stuff. But we'll see. Just let us know in the comments. We're always open. We're always open to questions and everything else like that. So as always, man, I'm Logan Cross.
I'm Fire Troy.
And thanks for watching. Tune in next week. Yes, sir.